Good morning, Richard Eckley here. Happy Tuesday morning to you. We're on a Tuesday, so on a Wealth Tuesday on your 4 keys to a healthier, happy you. And the question today is cash or assets? What's the best to go for? Most people say nowadays, always put your money in assets, which is great long term to put your money into assets. So it's always accumulating money. So it's always going to actually get your money, earning money for you. So it's getting interest and bringing it back again. But you always need cash. No matter what happens, you're always going to need cash. If you want to get some fuel or some food, you're going to need cash. So you need to be able to get your money, access to your money at all times. And it's so important to realize, okay, I need to put money aside. So I'm saving some money. I'm putting it into my investments and assets for the future. But you also need access to cash at all times, so I can put fuel in my car and get food for the family. I mean, you can't walk into a garage and say, look, I've got 100 million in assets, give me some fuel, and say, well, no, give me cash. And so you're always going to need cash. So just realizing, okay, we need to get a balance of money we've got access to immediately, cash access to, and also assets that are getting investments for the future. And it was a sad story I heard a while ago. It was back in 2008, was Adolf Merkel. He was a German investor and company owner, and he was on Forbes list of the 5th richest man in Germany. He had $9.2 billion in assets, so he was very well off, billionaire. But unfortunately, with the crash of in 2007-2008, all his assets were locked up, so he could not get them. His companies got into trouble. He lost some money on the stocks, and he couldn't access his money. He needed to try and get some bridging loans to try and keep his companies going. But because the banks weren't lending at the time, he couldn't get any assets. He was asset rich, but cash poor. So he couldn't get any cash to keep his companies going. And unfortunately, he actually committed suicide, stepping in front of a train and killing himself on the 5th of January, 2009. He was a father of 4 and a well-respected businessman. He couldn't cope with it. And they said his business loans actually came through not long afterwards. So he would have been okay. But it was just the fact that he had all his money tied up in assets and he couldn't get any sort of cash, and he felt powerless. He said he couldn't do anything because everything was tied up. So it's so important to remember, okay, then I need to invest for my future. So I'm putting money inside the future, but I've got access to cash, say an emergency fund, so I can always get cash whenever I need it. No matter if something happens, I've got instant access to a certain amount of cash ready to back me up if I need it. So it's so important to get a balance. Yes, we need to invest in assets for our future, so we're accumulating wealth in the future. But we need access to cash straight away, because we're always going to need cash. We need to buy food, buy fuel, buy everything we're going to need to just live on nowadays. So it's always given access to instant cash as well. Just get the balance. It's worth checking your statements at the moment, because the interest rates have gone up. So you may have your savings locked away, say, for a while now, and the interest rate could be really low because it's been low for so long. When our interest rates have started to rise, you could well be looking at see what interest rates you're getting at the moment, but it's worth putting it so it's more open to access, and you're getting a high interest rate as well. So it's always worth checking these things out. There you go. Have yourself a good one. All the best for now.